KL also, if it rains a lot,
Yes.
right, the
Yes.
place will flood and then traffic jam and all that.
Yeah, traffic jam and so on. But it's just for a while, and then it's just 1 hour or 2 hour, and then
Oh dear.
after that is come back normal again. How about Puchitra?
Yes,
Hello,
good
Puchitra.
afternoon. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Vivienne. Puchitra is the head of the tourism department in our faculty.
Oh,
Yes.
hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Finally.
Finally, yes.
Mm.
Thank you for doing this webinar series.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. Madam Chitra. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. The students are on holiday now, so we have a little bit of a break. We will come back to the online sessions on Monday.
Okay. Our students will actually have their midterm 2 weeks from now.
Oh, okay. I see. So they are now into their semester.
They're now into their semester.
Studying,
Yes.
and they're online.
Yeah. Are they also doing online in
Yeah,
your
they
university?
Yes, yes. You know, initially when the cases were better, our UC actually thought of having them to come back, only the first year students in the coming semester, which is next Monday. But the cases went up again, you know, so therefore UC has decided to get everybody back on online classes.
Online again. It just keeps going up and down and up and down.
Pardon me?
It keeps going up and down the
Yeah, that's
cases.
right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Drastically increased. Yeah, so.
But are most of the schools online or certain schools? How about elementary also? High school,
Yeah,
junior?
yeah, for everyone across the board. The schools are not allowed to open, even for children, you know, for kindergarten right upwards. Yeah. Until higher institutions.
How about offices? Stuff like, are they open as well?
For our UC, we are closed until the 27th. That's what the government has given the deadline for this control movement this time. So we are keeping up to the news day by day to see what is the decisions of the Higher Learning Council. You know, what do they decide? Then we will follow accordingly.
Hopefully by next year we could open our classes again.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, haven't
we
seen
hope so. Yes, because it's a little bit hard for us to online education. Because usually is we are not face to face, and in tourism is usually is practicum and many things to do, but now is off.
That's right. Yeah, quite sad to do the virtual tour because seriously, I'm not a big fan of virtual. So in my in my presentations today, I'm not gonna talk about virtual. I'm trying to get people out from virtual. Yeah, but we will see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We are the SOP in mind.
Yeah.
Implemented. Yeah. So we try our best to hear, you know, the news from the government. The moment he says, okay,
okay,
go.
Okay. So to my institution, my university is a private university, so we need the government place to open the campus. So when government say okay, we open the campus and go,
so
go
we
back
are
to
kind
normal.
of like gathered there, you know, on the map, cassette, go.
Yeah, and I think some of our students are getting bored. First, second week they were excited to stay at home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of gets to us as well, isn't it? I mean, from March we were close. We were in these situations. March, April, May. There was a hope, you know, when it comes to July, and then after that, now back to where we were before again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Actually,
very difficult.
yes, actually, in Jakarta now the traffic is like normal. Yeah. The traffic is
really?
yes, really. Yes,
Really?
really.
Ours is very slow. I mean, you could
But
count the number of cars.
yes, but the school is not allowed to open to reopen. But the traffic is going back to normal. Activity is
Really?
yes.
Okay, okay.
But only
How was your
school
cases?
activity. Atma Jaya is in the central of the Jakarta business
right in the
district.
heart.
Yes, the heart of the business district. So it's already traffic jams in front of my campus, but but we can.
Oh dear.
Yes.
So Dr. Iko, does your place have a big parking place for the staff? If it's in front is jam, they would take a half time to come in. Oh, you have a huge parking lot for them to park their cars, and are they allowed to go back to the campus? What's your situation now?
My situation is the staff is some of in the campus, but many of them is WFA, working from home.
Working from home, I see.
Yes, maybe is 80% is working from homes.
Oh, okay. The 20% are still going back to the campus.
But it's passive, not we are shifting.
I see. I see.
Yes. It's also a difficult time for us.
And especially now the students are
to do the learning, working from home, and 2 week later we have a midterm, and it's still confused doing midterm in this online session.
Having them to open up all their cameras, they are not allowed to close their cameras,
yes,
so we have to
like
watch them from behind. Yeah.
All of them are open books.
Websites. That's right. That's right. And our questions have to be harder.
Yes,
make sure that they couldn't find the answers
from books or
website. Yeah, that's difficult. Yeah, I'll have my part to set the exam question. Yeah, very soon.
But it's make me more creative, and we try to find the new thing about lecturer, about how to learn, and etc.
Getting them to do the website thing, it's hard as well to do it. Yeah, especially the application that the students are not very well versed on that, but still a lot of coaching to do. We'll see.
It's good. And now I always monitor the worldometer, and the coronavirus tally in the world, and this day is the record. The number of the infection is
really, how bad is it?
Is for 400,030.
Oh my goodness!
Is a record in Jakarta, because the northern hemisphere in Europe and America is going up the infection rate. So I don't know, but if we looking back to the Spanish flu, the peak is in November. I hope also this pandemic and the peak also in November, and then after that is is flattening again, because in the Spanish flu is November is the peak of the infection, but I don't know, but we hope that November will be the peak, and then it's slow down and we come back to normal again.
Yeah. They said, I was reading somewhere, it says that the comeback would be 2024 to be optimistic.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway,
we shall
pray hard for it and see what would happen. That's all we can do, isn't it? Providing to follow all the strict SOP to protect ourselves and the neighbor, and our residents first, then we'll see.
And this after this webinar,
Yes.
in the communication department also doing the webinar with Tariusi also, my communication department with Mr. Muhammad Abdul Hafiz from Tariusi after this webinar. So
yeah, you'll be busy today because
yes.
we have 2 sessions. Yeah,
we have to session. You are busy also. We have to session.
Yes, very excited. A very busy day for us.
Yes, because next Thursday is I don't know, is on the national holiday in Indonesia, because it's Maulud Nabi. Is from the Muslim is
yeah, ours too.
Yeah, so
Prophet Muhammad, ours is this
Prophet Muhammad,
next week, right?
Yes, next week.
Prophet Muhammad's birthday, yes. It's on
So
Thursday.
we have national holiday. So everything is now in this Thursday.
Yeah. Likewise.
We have 123 participants now.
Okay.
Hello, Pak Yerik.
Hello, Mr. Eko.
Hello, Yerik is the speaker and the discussion. Yes.
Hello, Dr. Yerik.
Hello, Miss Vivi. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Pak Eko, Miss Vivienne, Pak Yerik, Ma'am Chitra, and everyone. We're about to begin our webinar in 1 minute.
Okay.
Our MC is Karin Sunjoyo and Nikita Angel. Okay. You could start the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Zareen.
Okay.
Okay, let's start our webinar now. Good afternoon to everyone and welcome to our public lecture series with the topic An International Discussion in Emerging Trends, Staycation and Slow Tourism. Tes. Suara gua keluar nggak sih?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
Apparently, we are having a technical difficulty. One of our MC just got disconnected. I would like to ask for, please, our audience to be patient.
Okay, I'm in. Sorry for the trouble.
Okay, Karin, maybe Nikita is already.
Okay, so I started now. Good afternoon to everyone and welcome to our public lecture series with the topic An International Discussion in Emerging Trends, Staycation and Slow Tourism.
With a mighty God blessing, we are able to be here together. For all the participants, we want to say welcome and thank you for taking the time in our webinar. I'm Nikita from Tourism 2018.
Hello, and I'm Karin from Tourism 2019. Welcome, and we will be your guide until the end of the webinar.
Our international discussion today will be divided in 3 sessions. First, the opening, the discussion, and the questions and answer session.
In the opening session, the Dean of Business Administration and Communication Faculty, Dr. Eko Widodo, will give an opening speech. Then, we will continue with a brief introduction about our School of Tourism at Jaya Catholic University of Indonesia.
Next session, the discussion will be hosted by our moderator, Ms. Lim Xiaofang. The session will consist of 2 parts that will be elaborated by our moderator.
The last session is the question and answer. This session will also be moderated by Ms. Lim Xiaofang. We invite our auditions to participate by asking questions. So, let's start our webinar now.
First, we would like to invite Dr. Eko Widodo to give a speech and open our webinar.
Okay, thank you, Nikita. Thank you, Karin. First of all, thank you, Ms. Vivienne from TARUC for this webinar, international webinar. And thank you also for Mr. Katriani from TARUC also that is participate in this webinar also. It's a good opportunity for us that we can get knowledge, especially about tourism from our neighbor from Malaysia, and we can expand our knowledge about tourism. As you know, that tourism is important for us because tourism is in our DNA. Yeah, tourism is in our DNA. Since the beginning of humanity, and that human species is always travel to go to around the world, and also go to the moons this century, and maybe next the last century we going to the moons, and maybe this century we are going to the planet Mars. So traveling and tourism is really in our DNA. People always travel. Every day we are always travel. We are always negotiate our desire to travel and the constraints. And the big constraint now is COVID-19, of course. It's the biggest constraint, not for us, but for the people around the world. But as I said before, travel is our DNA. Yeah. So the intention to travel is still in there. People still wants to travel, going to around the world. COVID maybe is slowed down our intention to travel, but it will return again. What we will to do is we have to adapt to the new thing of travel. And the topic today is about staycation and slow tourism. It's one of the new thing in tourism. We must adapt with this the new thing of tourism, and it's important for us as human being. Adaptation is make us bigger, make us survive. Yeah. So let's adapt with the new thing, and let's learn about new thing, especially about staycation and slow tourism with Mr. Vivienne from TARUC, Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Eko, for your support and encouragement.
Before we continue our event, I would like to invite everyone to turn on your camera to take a picture together.
There are 8 pages of audience. Don't forget to give your best smile for this documentation.
I will take the first page picture in 1, 2, 3. Second page in 1, 2, 3. And the third page in 1, 2, and 3. And the fourth page, 1, 2, 3. Fifth page in 1, 2, 3. Sixth page in 1, 2, 3. Seventh page in 1, 2, 3. And eighth page in 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Zarin, and thank you, everyone. We would like to remind you to turn off your mic and camera to ensure the webinar will go smoothly.
We would also like to give thanks to Tunku Abdul Rahman University, College Malaysia for the collaboration.
Also, to the School of Tourism of Atma Jaya Catholic University of Indonesia for hosting this event. Now, let's listen to a brief explanation about our School of Tourism by Krishala, Carolina Cerah, and Kathy Lowell.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Salah for Tourism 2019.
I'm Carol from Tourism 2018.
And I am Kathy from Tourism 2019. Now, we want to present about our School of Tourism.
History. The School of Tourism of Atma Catholic University of Indonesia was opened in 2010 under the Faculty of Business Administration. At the time, it was named as the Hospitality Department and located in the Semanggi campus. In 2017, we moved to the BSD campus, our newest campus.
For curriculum, it provides a bachelor degree with the title Sarjana Pariwisata or Bachelor in Tourism to their students after finishing their studies in 8 semester or a total of 4 years.
Major. There are 4 concentrations that we can choose from: hotel management, culinary art and kitchen management, destination planning, and event management. We can choose one out of the 4 concentrations that are available in our 4th semester.
And to know more about the tourism industry, our schools support us with several laboratories that may help us later on in the working world. There are at least 4 laboratories that we usually use, such as the Hotel Simulation Lab and the Front Desk Simulation Lab that is located in 6th floor. There's also the Culinary Arts Studio and a running cafe called Le Cafe on the ground floor.
Workshop and training. Not only theories, but we are also given workshop and training as one of the process of learning. There are several workshop and training that they give to us. For example, there are barista training, scone workshop, assistant laboratory training, manual brew, table manners, wine training, and many others.
To support us, our school have collaboration with other university and companies, such as, for example, Taylor University, Finplus, OINOS, the Tourism Ministry, Yayasan Kahati, and Superstar Education.
In the 7th semester, we are required to do an internship for 6 months. Our tourism school has many collaboration with several hotels and other companies engaged in the tourism industry that provide places for internship to their students, such as Singgalen, Raffles, Kuoni, Witatur, Garuda Indonesia, and G-Expo to name a few.
Why you should choose Tourism Department of Atma Catholic University of Indonesia? First, there are many opportunities to join several workshops, such as manual brew, flower arrangement, wine pairing, and the others that can help your knowledge development.
Second, you can get a wide network because most of them are active members of the Indonesian Tourism Student Association.
Third, you can participate in various competitions and conferences, both national and international.
Other activities. Here, you are not only studying the theories on tourism, but you're also able to implement what you have learned in field activities, such as research and student study service, or as we know as kuliah kerja nyata, where we have gone to Flores, Brebes, Pulau Seribu, just to name a few places.
You can also join the Indonesian Tourism Student Association to meet and communicate with other students from other universities.
And last but not the least, you can develop yourself with humanity act like community service.
Exciting, right? So what are you waiting for? Come on and join us in the School of Tourism of Atma Catholic University of Indonesia. Thank you.
Wow, indeed. Our School of Tourism is not just a good place to learn, but also a good place to make new experiences.
Yes, I agree. All the students are also involved in taking part in the activities. Thank you for the presentation, Sheila, Carolina, and Kathy. So, let's continue to our next part of the event.
Our moderator for today's discussion is our own alumni, Ms. Lim Xiaofang. She's also the laboratory assistant in our School of Tourism.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Lim Xiaofang.
Okay, thank you, Nikita, and thank you also, Karin. Good afternoon, everyone. I first want to thank you, Mr. Eko, as the Dean of Business Administration and Communication Faculty, and also to Ma'am Chitra as our head of the School of Tourism, to give me the opportunities to be here. I also want to thank you, Ms. Vivienne from Tunku Abdul Rahman University College Malaysia, and Mr. Yerik from Atma Jaya Catholic University of Indonesia as our speaker for today's webinar, and also want to thank you everyone for finding time and for visiting today's webinar. Before we start, I want to remind all of the audience to mute your microphone in order to keep the quality of webinar sound functional. And then if you have any question for the presentation, please type them in the chat box and we will collect them and answer them during the last session, the question and answer session. So first, I want to briefly introduce our first speaker, Ms. Vivienne Soong from Department of Hospitality Management in Tunku Abdul Rahman University College. Ms. Vivienne, she graduated with Bachelor of Business in Hospitality and Travel from Edith Cowan University Australian in 1995. And then she got her Cambridge International Diploma for Teachers and Trainers from Training Asia INC in 2005. And then she also graduated her Master of Hospitality Administration program from University of Nevada, Las Vegas in 2008. Ms. Vivienne was a lecturer in Tradewinds Corporation Parnas Hotel School from 2002 to 2005. And she also was a lecturer in Tunku Abdul Rahman University College from 2006 to 2013. From 2013 till now, she becomes the senior lecturer in Tunku Abdul Rahman College University. So Ms. Vivienne has teaching experience in bachelor and diploma program related to hospitality and tourism management. Her major taught courses are hospitality management, travel industry, service and marketing management, housekeeping management, and front office management. So today, Ms. Vivienne will talk about the emerging trends, staycation and through tourism. And I'm sure that this topic will be interesting and also important for all of us here. So everyone, without further ado, please greet Ms. Vivienne Soong from Tunku Abdul Rahman University College, Malaysia.
Right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dr. Eko, Madam Chitra. Thank you for having me today and everyone who is in the platform. My topic for today is emerging trends, staycations, and slow tourism. I like the opening by Dr. Eko. He said that travel is in our DNA. And indeed, because of that, we are always here to strive, no matter how the situation is, we will do our best to keep this industry alive. I have actually prepared several slides to introduce to you how we are doing in Malaysia on this tourism. I'll share my slide. Right. The first slide that I have chosen, is everybody okay? Can you see my slide? Can you hear me all right?
Yes. Yes, Ms. Vivienne.
Yes, okay.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Now, the reason why I chose this slide is because there are two elements that's in here. It vividly speak about my sharing today, my discussion today. One is, if you see the lady who is strolling her bike, telling behind the car, we actually talk about the boundary, it will not be that far. And also the pace of walking, it shouldn't be too fast. So therefore the two elements in there speaks very loudly in this picture, in this slide. Now I have divided my topics into several areas. First of all, I would talk about very briefly in Malaysian context, what would be the cordon sanitaire, and then later I would introduce staycations and slow tourism, and then how we apply in Malaysian context on that staycations and slow tourism. And later I would like to share with you my travel experience. This was done really this year, yeah, during our cordon sanitaire time. I'll show you when I did this to travel. And last bit, because the reason why I divide them into different areas is, first of all, we need to understand what's the meaning of staycations and slow tourism, and how are we going to apply it in our situation right now, and also the tourism products that are made available at this point. And the last bit, I would let our ambassadors, students whom I have taught them last semester, they are still in the year 1, to show you a little bit on their experience for when they are in the local in Malaysia. All right, without further ado, we will go through the reason that we have slow tourism and staycation in mind, because this is in Malaysian context. When we look at the graph, right, starting from March, COVID-19 starts appearing, and then it goes quite high between March and June, and it slowed down. And you look at between June and August, I mean, we could talk about early September, it's kind of a flat. So that was the time where we go, whoa, you know, we can do something, and now it's gradually going up. Therefore, when we look at the situations of COVID-19 that's affecting our society in terms of tourism, right, it has never given us a deadline, or it's come as it goes. I mean, it comes as one, two, and appears. So therefore, we can't take this very lightly, you know, even though we were at a very, I mean, between June and September, there was a very, we can actually catch a breath, but then it comes back again, yeah. So these are just to show you the situations that we are going through. And then after that, I have generate some numbers of COVID cases that's recorded in Malaysia, you know, starting from March randomly. As you look at June, July, and August, we have very good, I mean, the records of cases were lower as compared to before, and that was when we catch a breath, and then it came back up again and up again. Yeah, the red colors cases were indicated that it goes up. And that was the record that I had for 20th October. For the 21st October, well, it came down slightly lower, 732, that was yesterday, but we are yet to see what's happened. Again, we need to be reminded that this cannot take it very lightly, you know, the SOP that we have been doing, we need to make sure that we are still adhere very, very tight on that in order to bring the new cases down, because for tourism, we cannot have the cases up, you know, that will not go, right? That will not help us to take off. Okay, now just to share also with you that because of the COVID-19, our government has set up cordon sanitaire restrictions so that we could have the cases down and also stop the spread. That is the eventual objective. Therefore, in certain period, because this cordon sanitaire actually right very closely with the COVID-19 cases, if it is right up, therefore a very tight control needs to be implemented. So we have to make sure that, I mean, as a citizens, as a residents, we have to make sure that it doesn't, so that we can move about. We do have our grace period. I mean, the green color that I'm showing you, that's when I get to travel, and that's really, really good. But then now we are back again. Yeah, so therefore for slow tourism and staycations, I need to show you the next slide. What is the meaning of staycation? It's a combination of two words, stay and vacation. Now, the idea of staycation actually came way before COVID-19. This is talking about when the US economy was not doing well at one point and people stopped traveling far. Therefore, the tourism industry kind of came up with a word called staycation, that people doesn't travel very far because of the condition that they had. However, they will make full use of this staycation while they were, you know, in their own country. So I like to highlight the word enjoying in the phenomena of staycation. When staycation first started in the definitions or terminology, it's actually a willingness to be in this situation, that's enjoying. Now I also highlight the word called town or city, meaning to say staycation explain people are having vacation within a boundary, meaning they are not going far out, right? And I like to replace it with a keyword. It means within. Within meaning to say that they are away, but not far from where they are, all right? And then another word that I found in tourism context is slow tourism. Slow tourism, the meaning actually came from the word slow food movement that was established in Italy by Carlo Pertini. Why he has that? Because I think he wanted to promote organic quality food, and now he also have in mind to benefit the consumer and the producer. And someone took on this concept and called it slow tourism. We have to emphasize slow tourism is similar with slow food, that is benefiting the local, and then it meant that we are living, or rather traveling in a place on a slow pace. So in replacing slow tourism, I have a keyword called local. That means when we take on slow tourism, it is on a slow pace because we are traveling within a place locally and also experience like a local. All right. Now, if we put these two words together, earlier on we have staycation within and slow tourism local. Slow tourism has a little bit more impact in the sense that it has to benefit the local and while traveling locally. All right, now we translate that into another word called domestic tourism. Wonderful, isn't it? One thing I liked about tourism is you could mix and match and turn it into something else, which makes sense. You could take the element from different tourism and combine it together, or assemble, or rather dismantle it and combine with someone else, and it makes sense. Because the definition for domestic tourism, indeed, it is involving the residents, which is local, and hey, within, that is staycation. So therefore, I put them together, staycation, slow tourism equal domestic tourism. Now, that is the philosophy, or if we take on the study from before, we had the word staycation, that they write a story on that. A slow tourism, they have a story on that, and of course domestic tourism, it has been around for years and it has its own definitions. I turn it around a little bit. tweak it a little bit because before we go on, I would like to show you, this is Malaysia context, yeah, before COVID-19, because these figures was actually taken in 2018, that shows us that we were so big into inbound tourism. Now, what is the difference between inbound tourism and domestic tourism? I think by now you'll be able to explain that. Inbound meaning tourists from overseas enter to Malaysia and they travel within Malaysia. That is called inbound tourism. If we local residents of Malaysia travel within Malaysia, that is domestic tourism. Now, if you compare the figures, the spending from inbound tourism is higher than the domestic tourism. Now, during that time, 2018, even 2019, before COVID came, we are putting a lot of weight in inbound and less on domestic. Because you look at the returns as compared, it's much lower for domestic and much higher than for inbound. Yeah, just to show you this scenario. Therefore, a lot of tourism industry, operators within, we were so focused, or rather we put a lot of weight in inbound because that gives us a higher return that was before. And when COVID-19 came, oops, we need to look into something again. Now, still domestic tourism, I put a tweet. Why I put it domestic tourism? Because I am still talking about my emergent trend here with staycations and slow tourism. By combining the component of the two, I get domestic tourism. Now, the way that we run domestic tourism now is different from what it has been stated, because domestic tourism means eat local, spend local, stay at local, play at local, with terms and conditions. It comes with terms and conditions. The one that I explained before was without, but philosophy is the same, practice is different. Therefore, why am I using these illustrations here? I think it explained very well that now tourism, domestic tourism, we stay at local, eat at local, we have to come in with a condition whereby a maximum size of the group has to be at her. Now, when we talk about then, it's the more the merrier, the greater it is. But now, when we talk about domestic tourism, we have to state our maximum size. What is our maximum number in the group? And you can't exceed that. See the difference? It's a small group traveling now as opposed to mass. And also SOP must be followed. That is, I think now we are very familiar with the 3 SOP that's within us. We have to wear masks. We have to keep a distance. A social distancing must be there. And also we have to sanitize our hands all the time. So in our bag, we need to have extra masks. We need to have plastic bag that's keeping our mask and also hand sanitizer. And that's really different from what we had before. And another one that we come is our social distancing, right? That is being a passenger, we need to follow that. Of course, the operator, they need to even do much more SOP, that is having the temperature check, the scanning and so forth, right? So that is, I'm trying to clear it up that the one that I'm talking about now is actually the domestic tourism too, that is coming with SOP. Okay, now, what does our operator do to increase the volume of domestic tourism too? We talk about spend at local. At this moment, people can't go out, so what can the tourism industry people attract? I mean, get extra revenue, that is selling products online. I'm taking 2 examples. One is from a tour guide I knew. What he did was he have in contact with different local product producer and get them to give him the product, and he sell online the platform for them. He delivered on behalf, but he get commission from them, and they get to sell their products. And that's one way to kind of keep this industry alive. And also another one, it's from Plaza Premium Hotel, what they did earlier on, because from March this year until December, we have different seasons, and different seasons we sell different things. Right, earlier on we are able to put our Musang King on sale, and that now, I mean, a month ago it was the Mooncake Festival, so they had the chef to make mooncakes and sell online. And then these are the what we call online shopping or online availability for our tourism site to be offered to the consumer. Now this is local, yeah. What we are talking about here is all local, because domestic tourism is on local product, is on local tourism, yeah. And also stay local with the waiver of service and tourism tax. The room rates for hotel is lower down now. It's getting low. I mean, it's lower to attract local to stay in a hotel. Now, how many of us actually, well, within Kuala Lumpur, we will pack our bags and stay in a hotel? Very rarely, right? We may stay in other states, but now we can't go to the other states. So how? Now hotel came up with their own advertisement and campaign to encourage people to stay in the hotel. That is, they tell in the advertisement they are very, very strictly, tightly adhere to SOP, despite the room rate being lower, but they do not compromise on the hygiene bit. I mean, the way that they keep the hotel clean and suitable for people to stay, and that is hoping that the locals will have more interest, are attracted to stay in the hotel locally, yeah. Eat local, I think this is not strange that to people, because of how we are now, we ordered a lot of online food. I mean, ordered through website or WhatsApp or social media and get it delivered to our doorstep, so we don't step out from our house or where we are, right? So that is also another way of explaining domestic tourism, of eating locally. Apart from eating at home with restaurant food, we could also venture to the restaurants. It's also depending on our cordon sanitaire, how far we can walk out and how many people are restricted for one table and so forth. Definitely there is no mass gathering or mass crowd in a restaurant, yeah. That is out of the question, but at least we can actually do something. Very importantly, I would like to stress the importance of supporting local business. If we do not support local business, the industry is not going to survive, and or rather grow as high as what we wanted to. And my case study, now I would like to, now at this point, I have actually covered several areas. Now come to the case study. I've been to this place called Sasaran Sky Mirror. This is one of the attraction in Malaysia. Is very unique. Why? Because this place, and this is a sandbank, by the way, away from the shore. We need to take a boat ride to this spot and take photo. Now, what's the beauty of this photo? It's called sky mirror, whereby it means when you take a photo, the reflection of the sun can give you an image that is so clear that you could see two double image on the picture. Now that is a very, how should I say, a trick on this, that not every day you could take the picture. Now, what is the take? At this place called Sasaran in Kuala Selangor, if we were to start from Kuala Lumpur, it's about 1 hour road ride. And then we will reach Kuala Selangor jetty and then take another boat ride for 30 minutes to this sandbank. Now, this sandbank doesn't appear all the time. It only appeared twice in a calendar, in the Chinese calendar, the first day and the 15th day. Well, the tour operator said 4 days before the first, you can actually be there and you could have this. And then 4 days before the 15th of the Chinese calendar, you could actually plan your days to go there as well. Because why? A sandbank is relying on the high or low tide. When it's high tide, it will be covered. You can't see it at all. But if it's low tide, you are able to walk on it. Yeah. So now, what this package did is that this is the ultimate, this is the destination that people want to go, reach there, take photos. And on the way there, there are several operators. I believe this package is actually tying up with local operators and give a comprehensive experience for people like me as a passenger who visit there. Apart from taking the ride from Kuala Lumpur to Kuala Selangor and have that sky mirror image photo taken, on our way back, we stopped by a close town called Sekinchang. Sekinchang is where my photo on the right down is. Hang on a minute. Yeah, that's where it's just trying to get my mouse moving. All right, that's where this is Sekinchang, very famous for paddy field. Yes, and another spot for taking photo. And within this place, right, there is a factory for us to buy local products. And on our way, also we have these shops that demonstrate how to make kueh kapit. And this is one of the delicacies, especially during Chinese New Year, that people would buy them and give to their friends. And then we pass by the Pandai Redang, and there is a wishing tree here that you can actually buy the red string from the temple with a coin and throw it up on the tree and make a wish. And then there are eateries. Now this place is very famous for seafood because it's near the sea, so therefore seafoods are served and so forth. Now this is a day trip. Remember, domestic tourism, we spend local, play local, see local. I didn't stay local, but then the tree has already been achieved. Over a day. This is a day trip. All right, so another one that I have been also another sky mirror. This is at Bagan Dato. This one is far away. Just now about 1 hour to Kuala Selangor, and then after that another 30 minutes ride. But this one is further away, about 4 hours 30 minutes to Bagan Dato and another half an hour to this village. Now the difference between just now Kuala Selangor, Sasaran and Bagan Dato is for Kuala Selangor we didn't stay. For Bagan Dato what we did is we stay overnight. Therefore the package for Bagan Dato include accommodation, include meals, and also include the sightseeing. Yeah. Different from the one just now. Okay, have the same effect. And the thing about sky mirror is the condition. If you want to have your photo taken, very nice bright photo, you should wear bright shirt, bright tops, so that the colors will be more sharp. Now again, because we are dealing with weather, we are dealing with nature, we can't expect everything to be perfect like what we wanted to. You could see that the photos for Bagan Dato is less not less sharp as compared to Sasaran, because that day we went, it was very windy and was very cloudy. Yeah. Again, all right. Now, this is what I have in my package of 2 days, 1 night tour. When we got there, there was a buggy to bring us around this place. This place is called Bagan Sungai Burung. It's a village. It's a fishing village whereby people are depending on the fishermen. Yeah, they go out and they bring the fish back and all that. It's a fishing village, and you could imagine the smell, you know, as we walk along the jetty, you get the smell. And what they did is they had a few things that is in part in this place to make it more exciting. That they planted the sunflower, but the sunflower was not in season, so you have to use your imagination. Yeah, sunflower field, and then they also have rock melon as well, but that come in season. If we are traveling there in November, December, then we can see the results. And they also have another aquarium where they have fish. Include in there, give you another so-called attractions and the local product, because it's a fishing village, so they have a place where they make their local fish balls, fish cakes, and so forth, and another place as well. These are done by the local. And now this village, right, it's not very big. I asked, it's about 300 people staying in here, and then about 80 units of houses. So therefore they need to, you know, run the place by having different activities so that they can earn some revenue from there. And then this is a place where they sell very, very good teochew dessert. Okay, and then at night we will also been given a tour to see the planktons. That's a little fish that lives in the sea, and it has blue color. They call it locally called blue tears. Yeah, so these are the activities that's involved in Bagan Dato. And then finish with a good seafood lunch. So these are all inclusive in the package, and these are all locals. Yeah, the seafoods are from local. All right, now until now I have actually demonstrated the domestic tourisms which I have introduced earlier. And before I end, I would like to show you the presentation slips that's done by my students. The reason why is because that I believe the tourism industry depends on young people like yourself, young generations, to keep it alive. Therefore, I would like my future young ambassadors to introduce Malaysia to you. Okay.
Excuse me, I can't hear. Can the rest of you all hear?
You can't hear?
I can't hear.
Can't hear. We can't hear. I can't hear as well.
Cannot hear.
Cannot hear.
Yeah.
How am I going to make it louder?
Yeah.
I need help.
Is this pre-recorded?
Yeah, it is pre-recorded.
Try The volume to the max.
Volume, Vivienne, look at the volume of your mic.
Okay, okay. Now, okay, I play again. Yeah, you try to see whether you can hear or not. No?
Okay, we can hear now.
You can hear now. Do you want me to start from the beginning, or you want me to continue?
Yes, please start from the beginning, Miss Vivienne.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are we able to hear now?
Yes, okay.
Okay.
We can't hear actually. I'm wondering, is it only in Malaysia? We can't hear?
No, it's
I can't hear
for us either.
Vivienne, we can hear your voice, but we can't hear the voice of the students.
Oh, Dr. Kati, I am now needing some help. So I'm not sure whether Zasrin, you can help me.
Miss Vivienne, could you please move your cursor to the bottom right of your PPT? There's a volume. Is it already? Okay, could you put it in the maximum? And put your laptop volume to the maximum too.
Okay. Put my volume. Okay. I'll try again. Let's see. Miss Kati, can you hear now? Dr. Kati, can you hear now?
Let her go on. I'm trying to hear, but it's very unclear, Vivienne.
Very unclear.
Yep.
How about I have actually given the slide to Zarin. Zarin, do you want to share from your side instead?
I will try, but please give me a minute.
Okay. Yep. Dr. Kati, please give us a minute, yeah? So Miss Zasrin, do I do stop share now and then you share from your screen?
Let me try open the PPT first.
Okay, sure.
But the problem could be also because the quality of the video is not that high quality, which means the audio is not well, not good enough.
Okay, all right. Otherwise, I would show from my screen. I'll do my stop share for the time being. This is my last slide already.
我知道，有很多蚊子哦，下面。拿来看呢。哎呀，我没有灭啊，怎么会自己？
Oh dear, no sound as well.
So can you hear the sound?
No.
Oh, okay. Is it no sound at all?
Yep, no sound at all.
Ooh.
All right. I think we will share.
Perhaps, Vivienne, can I suggest that you share about our program to the participants?
Okay.
About our tourism programs. Since, they can't hear, perhaps you can just share it with the participants.
Okay. All right. Now, hi everyone. Sorry for the technical issues. So, our program in Thai UC, our tourism program, we have two programs. One is Diploma in Tourism Management and also our Bachelor of Tourism. Now, these two programs will run different for different durations. For our diploma in tourism management, it will be 2 years, and the Bachelor of Tourism Management, it will be 3 years. Now, if you have decided to come to Malaysia and join us, you will be going for the Bachelor of, if you wish to go for Bachelor of Tourism Management, that will be 3 years program. Now, during this 3 years programs, students will have the opportunities to travel either locally and overseas. Yeah. So this is the brief that I can talk about our program. And then the beauty about having to study diploma in tourism or Bachelor of Tourism Malaysia, Bachelor of Tourism Management is that students can explore the part of Malaysia, to locally. So our domestic tourisms will be very heavily imparted in you, and also our programs is designed in such a way that you will explore the tourism industry, not only in the airline, in the travel agents, but as overall. Because now, importantly, as Dr. Iko has mentioned, I always like your word that travel is in our DNA. There are a lot of things that we could do with tourism. So once we have the fundamental, we would be able to explore on it. And we have many tourism lecturers who are very, very experienced in different areas to coach and guide the students. Yeah. So with that, I would like to end my discussions. Thank you everyone for participating. Now I would pass the mic back to Xiaofang. Thank you, Xiaofang.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Vivienne, for your amazing presentation. Everyone, now I want to introduce you our second speaker, who I'm sure that also as amazing as Ms. Vivienne. So everyone, please meet Mr. Yerik Singgalen, the lecturer from School of Tourism, Atma Jaya Catholic University of Indonesia. So Mr. Yerik is a bachelor degree from Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana in 2014. And then 1 year later, Mr. Yerik graduated with master degree in tourism development program from the same university. Mr. Yerik 1 year later graduated with his doctorate program in tourism planning program from also the same university, Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana. So Mr. Yerik teach tourism program at Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana from 2014 to 2017. He also has teaching experience in tourism development and accounting from 2017 to 2019 at Polytechnic Perdamaian Halmahera, North Maluku. Since 2019, Dr. Yerik worked as lecturer in School of Tourism, Atma Jaya Catholic University of Indonesia. Mr. Yerik wrote and reviewed some articles that published in international journal, included Insight into Regional Development, Volume 1, Number 4, Asia Pacific Journal of Tourism Research, Asia Pacific Journal of Regional Science and Entrepreneurship and Sustainability Issues. Dr. Yerik works and researches are related to sustainable tourism, community-based tourism, tourism planning and policy, ecotourism, and digital tourism. So everyone, now I want kindly present Mr. Yerik from Atma Jaya Catholic University, Indonesia. Mr. Yerik?
Thank you, Salfang, for inviting me to start the presentation. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, Mr. Yerik, we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, Ms. Vivienne. Thank you. Okay, I'm asking permissions to share my screen first. Well, yeah. As a brief introduction, I would like to highlight several topics as an outline of today's presentations. First, I would like to discuss about a general view of staycation and slow tourism through an academic perspective. And then I will continue by explaining and illustrations about the guest and the host in order to understand the definitions of slow tourist and slow tourism destinations. And next, I used a livelihood perspective to analyze and discuss the guest and the host livelihood, especially for the coping strategy due to COVID-19 issue as a vulnerability context. And next, I discuss about staycation as a supporting system, which is help the local community to cope and keep maintain their businesses in tourism. And I will discuss also about virtual tour as an appropriate program for those who prefer to stay at home during this pandemic instead of stay vacations. And I will end my presentations with several recommendations and conclusions. That's all for an outline. And I will start my presentations with general view of staycation and slow tourism discussed by previous research. In terms of my preparations, I select several journals related to the topics and also use an applications, namely NVivo 12 Plus, in order to identify the component and the child component and to analyze what is the topic with the families discussed by previous research. And it is an incredible after finding the result. Tourism as a main idea used by previous research, it is allowed for researchers to use an interdisciplinary perspective in order to get more insight or fill the gap and then get a novelty on their research. So they discussed the contextual issue based on the regions and the research locations. But most of them related the slow tourism with market and sustainable. For today's discussions, I would like to emphasize the slow component and discuss slow tourism destinations and slow tourist. In order to understand the definitions of slow tourist and slow tourism destinations, I offer an illustrations about the guest and the host. The guest can be illustrated into a traveler and a tourist. Both have the different basic characteristic. Traveler, identical with a small number of people and more flexible on setting up the journey. Compared with tourist, it is more identical with a large number of people who bind in time or an itinerary designed by a tour operator and mobilized by a travel agent. But both have decision-making process on the planning stages. If they want to fulfill what they want and what they need, they're looking for several informations about the destinations into internet and or a website about tourism company. And based on their experience of visitations, they might be evaluate whether they want to visit the last destinations or another destinations. But slow tourist here refers to an quality of an experience of the guest. So we could relate the slow tourism as the guest who has a ethical dimension and slow mindset in order to fulfill what they want and need through the experiences on a vacations. And next is about the host. The host can be illustrated into a tourism destination management, which is involved the local community or a rural level government. Indonesia recognizes it as a village government. It is also supported by several stakeholders such as private and public sectors, media, university, and associations. In order to optimize the tourism destinations, collaborative advantageous models must be applied. It might be a triple helix, quadrihelix, or pentahelix. But during this process, decision-making in planning, implementation, and evaluation stages must be applied. If they consider the environmental issue or socio-cultural issue and prevent the environmental degradations before setting up or publish an information into the internet, then it might be considered as the slow tourism destinations. The host also can setting up the mixed marketing strategy and focus on the consumer and control the destinations by project or by predictions how um, how much visitors are being allowed for visiting in a day. So to control the carrying capacity of the destinations, and it will be more effective way to prevent the environmental degradation issues. So the definitions of slow tourism is left itself, it is partial and it is contextual. In every country, they can interpret the definition of tourism. And to understand the slow tourist, we have to understand the quality. Once the quality are being prioritized by the guest or the host, then might be interpreted as a slow tourist and slow tourism destinations. For the next issue, I would like to discuss about how the guest and the host cope with COVID-19 issues from theoretical perspective of sustainable livelihood. This theory offered by Department for International Development, or DFID, and designed by Robert Chambers and Richard Gordon Conway. It emphasized that to fulfill or to achieve sustainable livelihoods, they have to access an assets. So they divide into 5 kinds of capitals, such as human capital, physical capitals, and natural capitals, social capitals, and financial capitals. And also must be supported by policy and local institutions. In addition, nowadays, people are struggling. They strive to and cope with COVID-19 issues. So it might cause us the livelihood transformations and also multiple or dual livelihood. So staycations can be an alternative or supporting system to help the guests and the host maintain their livelihood. Domestication in tourism, so people prefer to visit the local destinations instead of going abroad during this pandemic. And keep aware of health protocol by wearing a mask, washing hands, and keep the physical distancing. And also, based on my personal insight and my research experience, during this pandemic, the people tend to choose the nature-based tourism destinations to escape from daily routines or to go out or stay away from the crowded. And virtual tour presented during this pandemic will be an appropriate program for those who prefer to stay at home but keep updated to tourism's informations and having preferences about new tourism destinations. Our Ministry in Tourism and in collaborations with tourism associations and tourism industry, they present several programs. Virtual tour here is on your screen, you can see it. It might be useful to co-creation tourism experience for those who prefer to stay at home instead of stay vacations. And also in virtual tour, it might be very useful for us to keep aware, implement the health protocols. In virtual tour destinations, they provide information about attractions, amenities, accessibility, and ancillary. If you are interested to know more about virtual tour, then you please register in these programs. It might enrich your knowledge and insights about virtual tour. And here is my recommendations about how slow tourism implementation in Indonesia must concern about the product and market. In order to optimize the slow tourism implementation in Indonesia during this pandemic, it is an effective way, but we have to pay more concern about the culture-based tourism attractions such as traditional dancing and art, and also eco-culture-based tourism attractions such as ritual for traditional conservation method. It will be suitable for slow tourists because they are looking for a meaning of life, and there are a lot of preferences, and then they're looking for an experience in quality, not in a hurry and not trapped by trends. So for the niche market also, once we set a niche product for slow tourists, we have to set our consumer-based marketing based on geographical, demographical, psychographical, and behavioral aspect as considerations before we set the mixed marketing strategy, and then put the relations between our target and our price we set, and then what kind of product will be attract more for visitors. And the next recommendations for slow tourism implementations in Indonesia, it is very suitable based on the geographical considerations in our countries. Slow tourism will be more environmental friendly, and cultural preservations are allowable, and then also empowering the local community. And my recommendation is rural development regulation must be established. For example, proper tourist policies must be applied or established to eradicate the poverty and inequality issues in Indonesia. And also support the tourism organizations or community in local and regional level, or urban and rural area. As my conclusions, staycation are allowable. It will help the local livelihood. But once you go on vacations, please be aware and implement the health protocols. And if you pay attention on the slow tourism concept, please traveling for experience without being cased by time or being trapped in a trend. That's all for my presentations. Yeah. Thank you very much. I give a mic back to Shafan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yerik, for your interesting presentation. So, to everyone, we'll now start our question and answer session. So for the first question is about the staycation and the slow. Mr. Yerik can also answer if you want. Do you think that this staycation and the slow tourism will be also popular after the COVID-19? And how can it be popular then?
Okay, I'll take this one. And then maybe Dr. Yerik can talk about it from your perspective. Yes, definitely. Now, imagine that because now, right, we are so eager to go out, we can't, right? So you have this push factor or pull factor that is boiling up. And the moment that we can, because we are looking at the opening of travel in stages, we have to start from opening borders because we have 13 states and 3 federal territory. So in order for us to travel, we need that, you know, a pass, a green pass on that. So if let's say we get to go there, all right, so we gradually. Now again, we can't do all 13 states at one shot, correct? We have to take time. And because of this timing here, that we can't go out, we are so eager, so we will read a lot on what is locally available. Therefore, if we get to go, we will one by one trying to discover it. And importantly now, for our operators, we need to find what is the attractions that's interest to pull people in. You can't just have, okay, you know, I have a patch of nice view and then get people to take photo, and that is not going to last, but you need to make a story. I have not come into it actually in our local tourisms, right? Apart from the eco, we are also having a lot of cultural tourism, whereby because started from the 14th century and also 15, 16, 17, we were colonized, right? Another very good place where we have our UNESCO heritage is our Georgetown, Penang, and also Malacca. And those are the places whereby you look at history, you know, and how the remnants of the colonizations left behind for us. And also we have a history of tin mining, because that's how we get more money and more developed in Semenanjung, Malaysia. So these are the things that there are a lot of things on local tourism, or rather domestic tourism. So therefore we will not get tired of it. You get more indulged into it, and you would like to draw out more. And apart from the online shopping that I have mentioned earlier, now what people does is that they also have workshop for cultural destination. So every now and then we can't go out, but we get to watch it. And one day we will be able to, you know, get over there as well. So therefore I would say that for now we have the SOP, so therefore the domestic tourism too speaks very loudly, but once it is lifted, there will be another scope. But don't be disheartened that yes, we depend on international tourism. We do have a lot of outbound, but we also have our own niche. We have our own unique point to sell, our domestic tourism. Please don't remove them from your blood. It is very, very important because we need to support local product. That is how I explain. I hope I have answered your questions.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
You're most welcome.
Mr. Yerik, do you have any other if you can, you maybe you want to edit something or?
No, I'm agree with what Miss Vivienne have been explaining about the condition right now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vivienne. Thank you, Mr. Yerik. So I will move to our second question regarding the COVID-19 and new normal, the health protocol. What do you think about the government role here to the tourism policy, so that the traveler can safely travel around, and also not just doing this staycation, but also for the slow tourism, so they can feel safe when they travel also. Do you think what should the government do with the tourism policy?
Dr. Yerik, do you want to answer this one?
So based on Malaysian policies or Indonesian's context?
We will start from Indonesia first, then I'll back.
Okay, Shava, will you point out again the questions, please?
So this is the pandemic situation. Because the pandemic situation, the COVID-19, there's also the health protocol. So is there any policy for tourism policy that government has to do due to this pandemic situation, so that the traveler can do the travels more safe and can stay healthy during the travel?
Yeah. I think in Indonesia, our government already said it is not in formal regulations, but it took like the decision-making process in a collective or in a communal, whether they want to set, okay, we have to maintain our livelihood because our businesses depend on tourism sectors. So we have to keep the health protocols well and prevent from being infected by any virus, or in this pandemic, we talk about the COVID-19, right? But it is more about the awareness of how we paying attention of ourselves, of paying attention for more being aware, be careful when we go out. So as what Ms. Vivienne said, that we can't deny that tourism activities or the traveling have been our blood, and we love to move into one destination to gain more experience or more insight. But we just idolize the situation right now, and we have no power to give right recommendations because we are not doing a research based on each context. So to recommend the best policy, appropriate policy during this pandemic, we have to do some research first before giving recommendations. That's for me. How about you, Ms. Vivienne?
A very, very challenging questions to talk about, right? Obviously, the government plays a very, very important part to do the implementation of the policy, what is the best, because the government are also working very closely with our health ministry, you know, to ensure that what are the boundaries to be set, because we understand that as a whole, it affects the whole country's economic, the trading, you know, we suffered, and a lot of retrenchments are going on, unemployment rates, and the governments are putting up a lot of efforts to help the underprivileged and also people who are suffering as well. But again, this is what the government is doing for us. So as a resident, we need to also make sure that we follow very, very strictly to the SOP. We do not want to go beyond, and we don't want to challenge it, because we understand that what is happening to us, or rather what is imposed to us, is it's for our best interest, right? So therefore we need to understand that and to keep it very, very tightly. Of course, we are hoping that one day it will be lifted up, but first of all, we have to do our part. And then after that, we will hope for the best. I think that is what I would answer to this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yerik. Thank you, Ms. Vivienne. So we will move now to the next question. So it's about the domestic traveler trend. So at your global insight about this domestic travel trend, which do you think that the customer would prefer, the intercity domestic traveling or the local domestic traveling, and do you think why? It's for Miss Vivienne.
What do you have first? I mean, if let's say, if you have a story, you have a very rich story to tell, and people would love to hear it, I think people will go. It doesn't matter whether it's within. I believe that also have to be very closely with your government, with the government government policy whereby how far can you move, right? If we are not able to move within our radar, I mean, there is a 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, 15 and all that, how far can you move, right? So you play with, I mean, you follow suit on that bit, then you move bit by bit. So I wouldn't want to put it down as which one is more popular. However, the most popular one or the favorites, of course, is the one that has the least case, right? That is, people feel safe to go. Therefore, in the earlier stage, right, between July to, I'm talking about Malaysia context, between July to August, which are the states that has a popular tourists? They were at Redang, and then Langkawi. Langkawi was doing very, very well because they have the sea sand beach, and then also they have very, very low record of cases. And Sabah was once as well, Sipadan, because why? During the COVID, the price get really low and people are attracted to go. So these are the things that we need to look at as well, and how accessible we are in our public transport, in our transportation system. Are we able to take a bus that's intercity, or are we able to just drive within? So you need to look at all those elements in order to determine. No doubt, in my opinion, if you have a story, if you have a niche product, if you are very, very unique, and people would go. You have to create that story, even just for food, because in tourism we have so many aspects to look at. Which one will make us unique? Even just a type of food that's so unique that only be produced in that particular place, that will attract people to go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Vivienne. Mr. Yerik, do you want to say also something about this traveling? Mr. Yerik? Mr. Yerik, can you hear my voice? Okay, I think we have a little technical problem with Mr. Yerik. So, I will then move to our next question. This is about the tourism industry. So this is during this pandemic situation. So there are restrictions for with expense like the regional restriction and also the health protocol. So regarding this staycation and slow tourism, when the tourism industry want to increasing the revenue, so they have to fulfill the needs of the tourists, the ambience for the tourists. So how do you think that the tourism industry can fulfill the need of these tourists during this pandemic situation? So I think this question is for both of you. If so, Ms. Vivienne, do you want to start, or maybe Mr. Yerik?
Ms. Vivienne, please go ahead.
Okay. For these questions, right? What is the aim of the questions? I mean, what is the objective of these questions trying to phrase?
So maybe you can maybe you can give some example for the tourism industry to survive in this difficult situation, in this COVID-19 situation, because of course for the tourism industry they have also fulfilled the need of the traveler. But there is also restriction from the government also, I think, because the health protocol and then also the restriction. So maybe you can give some example how this tourism industry can give the need for the tourists, can fulfill the need of the tourists.
Okay, all right, I get you. How do we trigger more from push more, right?
Yes, to get the tourists come to the
yes. Okay. Now, do you have a tourist like me? I mean, as long as the border is open, I travel. I mean, you need to look at what are the tourist mindset now. You know, you trigger that bit and then you get them on. You know, you need to look at that as well. It's not easy because a lot of travel agencies, right, they are actually struggling on how are we going to make means meet, and sadly not many have done well. At this point, what can we do, right? Instead of trying really hard to tell people that, oh, it is all right to travel, and you know that mass travel is not allowed, so you need to rethink your strategy. That is to regroup. Last time we used to have, remember I say in my slide there, we have to limit the number. Last time we used to promote minimum number needed for the group, right? So now maybe you need to resize it. 1 to go, 2 to go. If let's say 2 people sign up to go, are you able to run the tour for them? So these are the things that you need to rethink, or maybe to rework your cost structure. Instead of those days you have everything included. I showed you 2 examples of my Sky Mirror trip, right? The Sky Mirror trip number 1, they put down the destination as Sky Mirror and inclusive of the coach tour from Kuala Lumpur to Kuala Selangor and the boat ride, but they do not include food. The meal is not included. So therefore, from there, perhaps they cut costs. And also they brought us to a few retail stores, and that's when they make up to it. Again, at this pandemic timing, right? Travel agent, if they were to make a lot, that is not possible. Yeah. Yes, yes. Am I answering your question? So yeah, I would say that way. That is, the travel agents needs to restructure and also rethink about what are the strategies that can strike people and how many people will buy this idea. Absolutely, you can't look for mass travel right now. Yeah. And also, there's an encouragement for travel operators to go into study, to educate themselves so that they know much more. And later, when we were to resume again, we are not only telling people, hey, this is KLCC, the iconic building. You can tell what's the story behind KLCC and how we built, how many floors, and those are the inside of a building, you know, instead of touch and go. So these are the ways that I would say that we could use in order to be sustainable, at least, yeah, for the time being. It is not going to go like before, like the glorious day where we used to have international students, especially the China market, to come in, but we need to survive on ourselves. Therefore, the domestic tourism needs to take part. However, how are we going to do it? We need to relook into it. And because now you're talking to the locals, and which is very different from inbound. You can't use the method from inbound to imply into local industry. I mean, it doesn't quite work. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Vivienne. Ms. Yerik, do you want also to say something about this travel tourism industry, how they survive with this difficult situation?
Okay,
And they can reach the tourists?
Now, I think in Indonesia, staycations are allowed, but the government only point out several announcements, including a health protocol and be careful when we go for businesses. We only implement large-scale social restrictions, and then they keep warning us about physical distancing. But Indonesia, I think it is more complex because we are struggling with our economic. Before the pandemic become our constraints in economic, we also struggle with poverty and equality. And now, people who depend their life on tourism sectors, especially for those who are running small businesses or informal sectors, will struggle, and they might be lose their job because the number of visitors decreased in a few times or in a range of times, and then they have to where do they have to sell their product? And so there is no alternative. They take their own decisions to have another job or even a multiple job or multiple livelihood like that to in order to pay their children's education cost and another livelihood needs. Yeah, that's from my opinions. And I think it is more complex and it is difficult to set the regulations in an appropriate way to answer or to offer a right solution for these problems. So, um, yeah, that's all from me. Thank you, Shafang.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Vivienne and Ms. Yerik for your answer for this question. So I will. I have one more question from Samuel Marvin. No. Yes. About the virtual tourism that Mr. Yerik previous mentioned. So about this virtual tourism, do you think this will what change about the traditional tourism right now? So the conventional tourism.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I will answer it. Virtual tour will never replace the real tour. All of us recognize it, but virtual tour help us to enrich the destination preferences. Once a guest with disabilities issues, he can't go to climb a mountain because the physical disabilities, for example. And he really want to have any experience on climbing. So virtual tour on climbing a mountain will be co-create his experience because he thought that he is having that kind of experience. So it helps us to enrich a destination preferences and help us to know more about informations of an attractions, whether it is an amenity in one destination we never visit it before. Because virtual tour can be accessed by using a technology, we can access it anywhere we are. Like once we are in a remote area, if we connect it with internet, we can have an experience. Yeah, that's all from me. Xiaofang, thank you. Maybe
Okay.
Miss If you want to.
Thank you. I hope that this is also answer Miss Nadine's question uh, about this virtual tourism if it will become also popular in the next in the future, and then if you feel that this virtual tourism can feel the same way as the going the tour with tour normally. So with this virtual tourism, maybe Miss Vivienne also want to say something about the virtual. Do you want to give also your insight about this virtual tourism?
Okay. I'm not a big fan of virtual, I'm sorry. So, well, with limitations, that would be a tool for us to at least look at the places that we wish to go, because I'm sure that all of us have our bucket list or our dream city to go or our dream countries to be. And if we cannot go, we look at the virtual tour that will help, but do not use it as an absolute answer, okay? Because otherwise tourism can't take off. I always believe that you should be to a place, you should be in a place or go to a place or try to be to a place by looking at it yourself, by smelling the breeze, you know, by breathing the fresh air, and that's supposed to be. I mean, virtual tourism, well, to its extent, it has its good, it has its good points in it, and it's very positive. But don't use it as an absolute. You don't want to stay in front of your PC or computer or your gadget. You know, I read somewhere someone was putting it, watch a movie, to eat, to like doing a lot of things by watching it. Not the way. But again, it's a tool for us to explore. We don't want to put it aside to say that, oh, that's no good, and keep it away. But no, we will enhance it. We will have it, but then don't use it as an absolute.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Vivienne. I think that's enough for the question for this webinar. Okay, thank you for Ms. Vivienne, also for Mr. Yerik.
Thank you, Stefan.
Yes, thank you for speaking.
Thank you, Stefan.
About staycation and slow tourism, and also help with all to answer all the questions. So, okay, from both your presentation, I feel that it is important because we have to realize that staycation and slow tourism will be important, and also with health protocol implementation, because it could be one alternative for some of tourism industry, and also important for all of us as academics and also tourism students. So everyone, thank you for your time and effort to be here today. It is my pleasure being with you now. But now I have to give this back to our MC, Miss Nikita and Miss Karin.
Thank you, Miss Xiaofang. Hello, everyone. Are you having a good time?
We hope that all of you enjoy this webinar.
We also hope that all of you can get new insight from this webinar.
But now we are already at the end of the webinar. We would like to invite Ma'am Chitra as the head of school tourism to present this certificate for appreciation to Miss Vivienne Soong and Dr. Yerik Afrianto Singgalen.
Okay, thank you to our MC. I would like to say thank you so much to Miss Vivienne, as well as to Dr. Singgalen for your insights and your sharing your knowledge to all of us. I hope that we can do this kind of webinar more often. And I also hope that not just webinar, hopefully next year, we could also do this not virtually. So Miss Vivienne, you are very much invited here to visit us.
Thank you, Madam Chitra.
So we could do a seminar without virtual. And
yes,
maybe,
yes, absolutely.
We could also visit your campus as well.
Welcome, please do, please do.
So not a virtual university campus.
No, a physical one. So
a physical one.
Yes,
hopefully.
Face to face. Yes.
So thank you again, Ms. Vivienne.
You're most welcome, Madam Chitra.
And also Dr. Yerik. And then I would give this mic back to our MC for today.
Thank you, Ms. Vivienne Soong and Dr. Yerik Afrianto Singgalen for sharing their time and knowledge with us today.
We would like to thank you, Ms. Lim Xiaofang, as the moderator for this webinar, and thank you for all the participants in an international discussion in emerging trends, staycation, and slow tourism webinar.
We would like to remind you to fill the feedback form in the chat section, and don't forget to follow our Instagram at @stm.uag and our YouTube channel at @stm.uag.
Finally, allow us to apologize for any technical difficulties or any technical issues we are having, as well as some wrong pronunciation and words we had said. So, see you on our next webinar. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Nikita. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yerik.
Thank you, Ms. Vivienne.
Thank you, Vivienne. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you also, Mr. Yerik.
Thank you, Xiaofang.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you also, everyone.
Thank you for your participation.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Miss Vivienne. Thank you, Dr. Yerik.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Shelfa.
Zareen. Yeah, one day we will meet.
Yes, absolutely.
Physically.
Absolutely.
Not virtually.
Not
Physically.
virtually, yeah.
No.
Already itching here.
Yeah. Stay safe.
Yeah, you
Keep
too.
well. Stay safe.
Yeah,
Stay
you
safe,
too.
everyone.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.